Hey, welcome to the parents page of our website. As far as I'm concerned, parenting is the most important and most impactful role that we as a human species takes on. I know that's a strong sentence, but I do think that that is true. We're literally raising, teaching, modeling for, and helping to set the building blocks of an essential foundation for the generations of humans that will go on to live, to lead, to love, to create, to innovate in this whole massive world. And it's not just in some far off future that we'll never know or we'll never see. It's often only like a decade or less away, depending on how old your children are right now. If we put that time frame in context, if we think about that, where were you in your life a decade ago? And does that feel really far away? Does that feel really close? Does it feel like it went really quickly? Does it feel like it went super slow? When I think back a decade, it's mixed for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was a decade ago. It doesn't feel that far away. And also, oh my gosh, it was a decade ago, right? It's hard to believe that much time has passed already. So, that saying, what is it? The days are long and the years are short. It comes to mind when I think about the timing of how things pass as parents and how timing can seem fast and slow all at the same time. It makes our jobs as parents so incredibly important. If parenting is such an important and impactful role, then why do so many people struggle with it? Fair question. Like, why are so many parents having a hard time parenting? I think that that question, it can kind of answer itself because it is something that is so important and so impactful. Then it's also something that's so precious, which means it's vulnerable, and something that is hard because it's vulnerable, right? Like it's a source of personally vulnerable challenge. And at the same time, it can be so incredibly uplifting and life giving and this inspiring gift that we have in our life, in our relationships. Since parenting is something that you care about so much, it can easily incite strong emotional reactions. It can pull those up and out of us. It can trigger you in unexpected ways. It can get under your skin or pull up past traumas that maybe you've been hurting from or hiding. It can deepen your relationship with a partner, and it can also add this level of difficulty that creates strain or even turmoil in your relationship. It can lead you to beam with pride, to feel filled with joy, satisfaction. It can be this awe inspiring type of experience while you're parenting. And it can also contribute to you feeling embarrassed or angry or guilty or ashamed or terrified or overwhelmed. Parenting can be so incredibly rewarding and it can be so incredibly challenging. Whether it's feeling rewarding or challenging in any given moment, it is a role of responsibility. And for many of us, part of our identities that requires intentional attention. And because it can so easily spark things up for us, spark up strong emotions, and it can make things feel so strongly affected within us, it calls upon us to learn how to do some things better and better and better, to be willing to progress, to improve in some areas that if we don't, it's not just going to hinder us, but it's going to hinder our parenting relationship and affect our children. And some of these things that it calls upon us to really become more mindful of and to progress in, to improve, to strengthen are things like being aware of our emotions, learning how to regulate our emotions, even and especially when those around us are not regulating their emotions. And that's a hard one. Knowing what triggers certain emotional reactions in us or our partner why, and what to do about that. Knowing, like a detective, getting curious about what might be triggering for our children, why, and what to do about that. Clear and consistent communication practices, healthy boundaries, conflict management skills, support, being willing to offer it, to accept it, to ask for it, forgiveness, being willing to offer it, to accept it, to ask for it. Being clear on our values, our own value system, and then learning how to lead in alignment with our value system in a way that's leading by example, living by example, as opposed to trying to force or dictate our values upon our children or even our partners. And these are just to name a few. Those are kind of a lot, aren't they? And in many instances, those skills, those practices, those concepts and perspectives that connect with all of those pieces that I just shared, we are not taught how to do that. And many times we aren't always modeled how to do that. And so there's a learning curve here. There's a learning curve here for us parents to choose to take on. So if you're wondering any one of the following, or maybe it's several of the following, then this might be something for you to explore further. I'm going to share some examples of who may find this kind of parenting work together with me helpful. If you're wondering something like, how do I parent my kid who's having a hard time? I want to help them through it, but their behavior is concerning and I don't know what to do. I've done all I know to do and I don't know what else to do. Or I'm trying to co-parent with my partner or my ex and it is not going well, or it's not going in a way that I think is healthiest and most helpful for all involved. And I don't want our parenting issues to be damaging to our kids. How can I make it better? Or we're a blended family and it's been a difficult transition. Understandably so, right? But I want us to all feel connected and to get along. And I'm worried about how it's going. I can't stand the tension and the stress any longer. How do I make it change? Or there's recently been a big change in our family, and dealing with it has been really hard. I want to be there for my kids, but I'm struggling to be there for myself. How can I be there for them and for me? Or my parents raised me differently than how I want to raise my children. And as much as I don't like it, I know that their parenting still affects me in some ways. And I don't want it to negatively affect how I parent my kids. I'm scared that I'm going to mess my kids up somehow if I don't parent them in a different way, or if I don't parent them the way that they need. But I don't know how to do it differently. How do I do it differently? If any one of those resonates with you in some way, then there's probably some work we could do to explore how to make some progress in that area, and how to make progress that feels like it's helpful for you as the parent and for your family system and your children. So whether you want to work individually on parenting or you'd like to bring your partner into parenting sessions with you, you're in the right space. I'm Dr. Tony. I am a mom of 5, and I have personally experienced life as a single mom, as a newly married mom, as a co-parenting mom with my ex, as a mom in a blended family. And I'm going to be honest with you, if there's some part of you that's been taught to believe that parenting should always be easy or else you're doing something wrong, that is not correct. Okay? Parenting was never meant to always be easy all of the time. It also was never meant to always be hard all the time. Okay? It gives us opportunities to learn and to grow just as much as it gives our children opportunities to learn and to grow. There's opportunities for each of us to learn and to grow in this parenting relationship with our children. But just because it's not meant to be easy all the time doesn't mean that it can't be experienced with more ease more often. I have been doing this work for the better part of 2 decades now, and I've worked with parents in various settings, like the school setting, the hospital setting, even the home setting, as they struggled with supporting their children in different ways, whether it's due to behavioral challenges or learning how to support a child with special needs, ADHD, anxiety, neurodivergence, figuring out how to navigate emotional, sexual, or social difficulties as they seek to better understand, connect with, and communicate with their children. I approach my work with them as something that we do together. I am not, nor will I ever be the expert of your child. No other professional can, is, or needs to be that. I am not the expert of you. That is not the goal. Together, we work together as a team to support you as the parent who wants to be able to engage in your parenting relationship in a healthier and helpful way. You are the expert of you, and we want to teach your child through you how to become the expert of themselves, right? So we work together as a team so that you feel more supported, more equipped and effective in being the parent that you want to be. Many parents struggle with how to parent with less stress. We as parents all want to be able in some way, right, to be effective in our parenting in a way that feels mostly good and feels healthier rather than harmful to our children's well-being and to our own. Some experts do this by focusing on things like behaviors, for example. The behaviorism perspective is a common perspective for changing children's behavior and within the realm of parenting, meaning they analyze behaviors and their triggers and then seek to change the behaviors based upon rewards, consequences, or other forms of reinforcement. And they do that from behavioral findings. Now, there are limitations to a behavior-only approach. One of the most important one is that connection is so often skipped over. It's missed. And that is incredibly, incredibly important for us to be aware of. Because we're a social species. That means relationship is paramount. We can't leave this incredibly important piece of human connection out of the equation when it comes to parenting. The behaviorist model in and of itself is not bad or anything like that. It just has its limitations, as do most theories. So we'll take the beneficial tenets from the behavior model and then we leave the rest. Over the course of my time in the mental health field as a parent myself, as well as the supporter to many other parents, what I have learned is that no single model, theory, or expert is 100% accurate and applicable to all of the time. Just not possible. This is why the work I do is not cookie cutter. I studied, trained, and developed skills in several therapeutic methods and models and theories, ranging from behavior-based to cognition-based to emotions, body and brain-based, so that I can weave together the core features from each in a way that's really quite unique and individualized. This gives my clients a more specialized type of care, more specialized type of treatments that goes beyond any one singular type of theory or model or perspective. Because your child is unique. And so are you. And so is your relationship with them. If any part of this conversation has connected with you in a meaningful way, it's really ringing true for you, it's resonating with you deeply, then I would invite you to reach out for a free phone consultation. They're about 15 minutes in length, and they'll help both of us better understand if we might be a good fit for working together. In the meantime, I wish you and your parenting so much success and wellness.